Let's talk about proportions for a minute here. So basically what a proportion is, it is two ratios that are equal to each other. So let's think about the last example that we looked at, to where we had a ratio of dancers to singers, and that was 3 to 2. So I'm going to write this as a fraction, 3/2. And then we found out that the actual number, because it had been reduced by 6, and so we had actually 18 dancers and 12 singers for a total of 30 performers there. So I can take that ratio and write it as in the fraction form as well, and I would have 18/12. And so I have two ratios that are equal to each other here. And this is what this is we call that a proportion. Okay. So the neat thing about proportions is this, is I have what we call in geometric means and extremes. I have the extremes here and the means here. I believe I'm getting that straight. But what happens, you guys have known this from elementary school as cross multiplication, so that if I say 3 times 12, that's 36. That's equal to 2 times 18, which is equal to 36. And what we can do is we can use this information to solve for an unknown if we have a proportion. So stop and look at it this way. If I put x up here and I said, okay, well, what was x? We know it's 18, but just to show you, I could say cross multiply 2 times x is equal to 3 times 12, which is 36. So I divide both sides by 2, and x is equal to 18, which we already knew that it was. I showed you that just to show that it works. Now, a lot of times in elementary school, your teacher would tell you, and I've heard this said before, this is the butterfly method, because if I circle them like this, it kind of looks like here's the body of the butterfly and those are the wings. So that is how we're going to solve these problems here. So here I'm use cross multiplication. I'm going to say 5 times x, which is 5x, is equal to 4 times 30. And so 5x is equal to 4 times 3 is 12, and then 0 is 120. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and I get x is equal to, 5 goes into 12. This is how I do this in my head. Let me show you this real quick. Divide by 5. 5 goes into 12 2 times, which is 10. So I remember that 10 minus, or 12 minus 10 gives me 2. And I put that 2 with the 0 and say 5 goes into 24 times. So x is equal to 24. That's just kind of how I do that in my head. If I didn't show you, I'd do it a whole lot faster and not use a calculator. So I'm going to make my pen a little bit not quite so fat since I'm zoomed in here. So there we go. We'll bring it down to 2. So when I take a look at this, I'm going to cross multiply again. I'm going to multiply these two. So I'm going to have 20. Now, well, before I do this, something here I just noticed is you have 5/20. I can reduce that. That's going to make my life a little bit easier. I get y plus 1/8 is equal to, I can divide both by 5, so this is going to be 1 and 4. Now, when I do that, it makes my life easier because I don't have to work with such large numbers, and then I don't have to get my calculator out to punch stuff in all the time. So I'm going to multiply my 4 times y plus 1, and that's equal to 8. Much smaller numbers here. I distribute my 4, so I get 4y plus 4 is equal to 8. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And I'm going to slide over here so I stay out of the way of the other one. That's going to give me 4y is equal to 4. And you guys can tell by here, I was going to divide both sides by 4. Y is equal to 1. And so I can get that there. Now let's take a look at the next one. I can't reduce anything, so I'm just going to cross multiply. So I have 5 times 2x plus 5, and then is equal to 6 times x minus 2. Distribute both sides. I'm going to have 10x plus 25 is equal to 6x minus 12. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one operation, two operations in this one step. I'm going to put my variables on my left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. That's going to cancel this out. But I'm also going to put my constants on my right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract at the same time 25 from both sides, and that's going to cancel out. So now I can rewrite this. 10x minus 6x is 4x, and that's equal to, because I got it canceled out, and I have negative 25 and negative 12, which is going to be negative, what is this, 37? Yep, negative 37. So divide both sides by 4, and when I do that, I get x is equal to negative 37 over 4 is what I get there. So that just looks kind of funny to me. And I was just checking on this, and you know what? Did you find my mistake there? Because I did make a mistake. And I'm just trying to find it. And you know what? I actually found my mistake, but it wasn't a mistake. It was a mistake from the book. Actually, this right here is a 4. So we're just going to leave our answer as x is equal to negative 37 over 4 because we did everything correctly there mathematically. They just gave us a funny thing there to look at, so I'm not going to worry about that. Our math is correct there.